Single dad's life transformed when he discovered his babysitter was the CEO's hidden daughter. Josh wiped sweat from his brow as he tightened a bolt on an old Chevy, his hands covered in grease. The local auto shop was his sanctuary, but today, the rhythmic sound of tools clanking felt more like a prison clock ticking away his dreams. It had been 6 years since his wife had walked out, leaving him with nothing but bills and a persistent yearning for a life he'd sacrificed. Since then, his days merged into a monotonous loop of muffled engines and spared laughter from his vibrant 7-year-old, Lily. He had dreams once, college aspirations, but they seemed worlds away now, obscured by car tires and late shifts. Every hour he worked was another reminder that his life could have taken a different turn, if only, when he met Emma, the new babysitter, a flicker ignited in the veritable dark of his existence. Her contagious smile and genuine interest in Lily's antics filled their cramped house with warmth he thought was long gone. She organized the chaotic mornings, leaving gentle notes that transformed Josh's disarray into something manageable. Yet, beneath this glow, a part of Josh wrestled with envy. Here was Emma, with dreams of business school and an ambition that lit her eyes. Did he still have that spark? As he watched her encourage Lily to paint without fear, he questioned himself, had he lost that potential? Was he too far gone? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The contrast between their lives gripped him tightly. As he learned more about her father's imposing shadow looming over her dreams, Jake's heart ached with a familiar, gnawing feeling. Deep down, he feared he was only an anchor holding her back. What kind of man found purpose only in being a specter? The day of the charity dinner felt heavy with unspoken judgments, the air thick with the weight of their two worlds colliding. Josh had never faced a CEO before, and Darren Wright's presence sent chills through his spine. As Emma's father dismissed her project, it was as if he had shattered not just her dreams but disintegrated part of Josh's as well. Limited ambition, an audience member called out, and those words hammered into Josh's soul. He felt the heat rush to his cheeks, embarrassment mingling with a piercing vulnerability. Was this the truth? Had he embraced a life that dictated his worth by how little he aspired to? With Emma's gaze locked onto his, he felt their shared spirit flickering like a dying candle, struggling against cascading shadows. Josh could see something break in Emma's eyes, the profound burden of his gaze anchoring her indecision. They stood on the precipice of change, yet the abyss of expectation loomed dauntingly before them. What if he could prove Darren wrong? What if Emma found strength instead of surrender? As they clung to this bond, Josh felt an unfamiliar heat igniting his heart, yet still, doubt cascaded through him like gravel in his throat. Could he summon the truth without losing everything? The moment stretched, fraught with conflicting aspirations, a defining juncture obscured in their realities, where hope and fear collided. How could they dare to battle their entwined legacies, and would they rise together or fall apart at the seams? Josh sat on a rickety stool in the back of the auto shop, grease-streaked hands resting on a false pretense of calm. The bustling noise around him faded into a dull roar, his mind thrumming with the echoes of the charity dinner and the shards of Emma's fractured dreams. The words, limited ambition, rang in his ears, amplifying the self-doubt that churned within. He was a mechanic, yes, a reliable provider for Lily, but was that all he would ever be? In that moment, he questioned if he had the right to hope for a more dynamic reality, one where he was always playing it safe. As customers came and went, Josh's gaze wandered out to the street, his thoughts tracing lines to a path not yet taken. With Emma by his side, he had felt the stirrings of possibility, a spark ignited by her tenacity and vision, but it was a mere flicker against the overwhelming void of his past. The ambition he had buried felt so foreign now, yet as her laughter echoed in his mind, he sensed the potential to reclaim it. Why not take a chance on himself, as Emma so boldly did every time she faced her father, he envisioned the next steps, the slow march toward a life filled with achievement rather than resignation. But could he genuinely pursue this path without current burdens threatening to drag him back? After work, he would often spend time poring over old textbooks, their dusty pages alive with worldviews and ideas he had shunned for far too long. During their evenings at home, he watched which subjects captivated Lily, realizing there were uncharted territories of knowledge he hadn't dared to explore himself. And the following days, Josh made a decision that felt startling, yet resonated deeply in his core. He would join the local community college courses on business management. It was an audacious leap, but rooted in Emma's relentless spirit. The mere thought of it sent his heart racing, churning a cocktail of anxiety and exhilaration within him. He began to look for scholarships that would ease the financial burden, though the nagging voice in his head cautioned him about time constraints and whether he could bear the load alongside parenting. The night before his first class, he lay restless in bed. The tension in his chest felt heavy, but he reminded himself of something essential: ambition wasn't exclusive to the privileged. It required grit, enthusiasm, and a willingness to embrace uncertainty, qualities he had instinctively tuned into while raising Lily. Embracing this newfound resolve was akin to setting a ship afloat against a tempest. As the sun broke over the horizon, Josh made his way to his first class, the smell of coffee invigorating his senses and silencing the doubts. He walked into the classroom, greeted by eager faces, young and old, each harboring their own ambitions. Among them, he was just a father seeking to carve out a better future. Yet, inexplicably, he felt as though he belonged there amidst the budding aspirations. A familiar face caught his eye and his heart leapt. Emma had arrived. The moment their gaze locked, a current pulsed between them, a mixture of encouragement and shared understanding. Standing together side by side, he felt renewed strength radiating through him. Each step on this path wasn't just for him, it was for Lily, and for Emma, both proving that change was plausible, even amidst the chaos of their intertwined lives. As they sat down, poised to begin this new chapter, Josh felt the weight of a question settling over him like an impending storm. What battles lay ahead? The journey toward ambition was fraught with challenges, but he could face them now, not just for himself. The next few weeks promised to unlock doors he had all but neglected. But as he turned to Emma, ready to share his newfound determination, he was met with a look of distress that could not be ignored. What could be troubling her now? The air thickened with uncertainty as they prepared to dive into the unfathomable depths of their aspirations. Little did they know, the following days would unravel a truth that could shift the very foundations of their relationship, a revelation that would test not only their ambitions but the core of their bond as well. Josh's heart quickened as he studied Emma's expression. The excitement of embarking on this journey faded, eclipsed by a palpable tension that settled between them. Her eyes, usually filled with enthusiasm, held a flicker of something deeper, possibly regret or fear. He felt an impulse to reach out, to ask what burden shadowed her, but words remained lodged in his throat. In the classroom, the instructor, a charismatic figure with a thick mustache and vibrant anecdotes, opened the session with a story about overcoming adversity in the business world. Yet, as he spoke, Josh's mind was a whirlpool of disjointed thoughts. The latest assignments compounded his anxiety, each requirement a new weight added to an already heavy load. He was caught between the exhilaration of the unknown and the daunting reality of his current life. After class, Emma pulled him aside, her voice barely above a whisper. "Can we talk?" "It's important," she said, urgency lacing her tone. The way she scrutinized him sent a shiver down his spine. This was not just a casual conversation, something significant weighed on her. They stepped outside, the evening air crisp yet laced with uneasiness. The streetlights flickered above them as Josh faced her. "What's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost." She inhaled deeply, catching his gaze with intensity. "There's something you need to know, something I haven't shared." The words tumbled out, held back for too long. "My father has pushed me away from pursuing my own dreams. He has plans for me, and they don't include pursuing a career in business or following my passions. I'm supposed to take over the family's estate planning firm." Josh's brows knit together in surprise. But you have so much potential. You'd thrive in a role that uses your talents. Why not tell him how you feel? What if I'm not strong enough to stand up to him? Emma's voice trembled, a crack in her otherwise steadfast demeanor. I've spent my life trying to gain his approval. It's easier to just go along with it. A pang of sympathy shot through him, and he recalled his own struggles with self-imposed limitations. I get it, he said slowly, choosing his words carefully. What if, just for a moment, you consider doing it for you? Not for him, not for anyone else, just you. What if your ambitions matter more than his plans? Her eyes dampened with unshed tears, and for a moment, Josh feared he had pushed too hard. Yet it was precisely that realization, his understanding of her struggle, that ignited a spark in him. If the two of them were to succeed, they would need to challenge the fears looming over them. Days turned into weeks, and Josh found himself diving deeper into his studies, grappling with concepts he'd never considered, reviving a sense of purpose. He pored over financial statements, marketing strategies, crafting business models late into the night. Each page ignited a passion long dormant, and with each class, he steered through uncharted waters, gathering the courage to redefine what success could mean. Meanwhile, Emma's reluctance to embrace her ambitions didn't go unnoticed. The discomfort between them shifted into shared strategic conversations, late-night brainstorming sessions, and personal confessions about their fears. Yet, Emma still hesitated to take the leap, each moment of indecision a festering wound in their relationship. Their connection flourished in ways he hadn't anticipated, but growing closer only sharpened the tension. The day of the first group project arrived, thrusting them into a decision-making storm. The task was daunting: create a mock business plan that needed to impress their classmates and the instructor, who had a reputation for ruthlessness. They huddled together with their team, but as the minutes passed, Josh felt the familiar undercurrent of doubt challenging him. Was he able to lead? As conversations evolved, Josh proposed an idea inspired by Emma's vehement belief in sustainability. He threw caution aside, believing in the burning potential he felt when collaborating with her. Their plan was ambitious, unlike anything he'd ever ventured to put into action. Through the project, he recognized the blend of ambition and necessity within himself. Realizing their shared philosophies, can they not only create something remarkable but also confront their demons together? But just as momentum began to build, the instructor interrupted with a critical assessment that left Josh's heart racing. You must remember, ambition alone isn't enough. Success demands proper direction and resources. The word struck hard. Are they truly navigating uncharted territory, or standing precariously on the edge of their own limitations? Josh's breath caught in his throat as he considered not just the project, but the formidability of what lay ahead for them as individuals. As they left the classroom, an unexpected text from Emma buzzed in his pocket, a message that set a new wave of uncertainty crashing against the shores of their aspirations. What vulnerability loomed on the horizon now, threatening to unravel everything they had painstakingly built? Josh's phone vibrated again, the screen lighting up with Emma's message. Can we talk later? There is something I need to tell you. The urgency in her words set his mind racing. What could it be? He felt simultaneously drawn to her plea and apprehensive about what it might mean for their already fragile dynamic. He spent the rest of the day oscillating between focus on the group project and the gnawing anxiety her message triggered. Classmates around him tossed around ideas with confidence while he sat at his desk, thoughts spiraling back to Emma's hesitation. Was it possible she might not just be struggling with her father's expectations, but with their growing connection as well? Determined to not let fear steer his course, Josh engaged with his team, bringing fresh energy to their discussions. Each suggestion he made felt less like a shot in the dark and more like steps toward a solid vision. He began to realize that potential, that flow of inspiration he had experienced while working alongside Emma, wasn't a mere fluke, it was a sign of growth. Embracing that insight, he channeled his budding leadership skills toward the project. As the days went by, Emma's text loomed like an uninvited guest. Each passing moment felt like a deadline catching up to him. That afternoon, while reviewing the final touches on their mock business plan, he earned a rare smile from the instructor. "Great work on refining the strategy, Josh," he praised, igniting a spark of confidence within him. But that praise wouldn't silence the urgent need to address Emma's struggles. Her silence seeped into every success he experienced. Later that evening, lost in thought, Josh waited for Emma at a small cafe they often frequented. He arrived early, subconsciously rehearsing how to initiate the conversation. When she walked in, the usual bounce in her step was subdued, every bit of lightness swallowed by the weight of impending revelations. He waved her over, and her smile felt like the flicker of a dying flame. "Thanks for coming," he said, sincerity flooding his voice. "I hope everything's okay." Emma took a deep breath, the tension palpable between them. "I don't know how to say this," she began, her voice trembling slightly. "I need to take a step back from the project." "What do you mean?" His heart sank at the words. "Emma, you're an integral part of our team. We've come so far together. What is going on?" "I just feel overwhelmed," she confessed, her gaze shifting to the table in front of her. "My dad, he is serious about plans for me, and I just can't focus on anything else." His disappointment morphed into urgency. "But you're so talented, you can't just step away. We're about to present something amazing. What if we built this together? What if you use this project as a springboard to assert your own dreams?" "I'm scared, Josh. What if I fail, and what if he finds out I actually went against his wishes?" He leaned in, sensing the suffocating pressure she felt. "Emma, we can't let others dictate our paths. You have to choose what this means for you, not him. You said your ambitions matter too. What is it that you really want?" For a long moment, she met his gaze, the tumult of emotions swirling beneath her surface. "I don't know, Josh." Her frustration boiled over. "I've never thought about what I want beyond his plans. It's all I've known." Disappointment tugged at his chest as his own internal conflicts surged to the forefront. In his quest to support her, had he overlooked his own growing ambition? The moment crystallized into sharp focus as if the air congealed around them, pregnant with unspoken opportunities. Before he could gather his thoughts, Emma's eyes softened with an eruption of vulnerability. "What if I'm not strong enough? Then allow me to be strong for both of us together." His voice was steady, a beacon amidst her storm, yet doubts about his own resolve flickered within him. Just as she opened her mouth to respond, her phone buzzed on the table. The screen illuminated with a message that changed everything: "Dad wants to meet. Now." Josh's heart pounded in sync with the weight of the impending moment. Would Emma drive her own destiny, or would patriarchal shadows dictate her path once more? A confrontation loomed ahead, one that could reshape their entire narrative. "Emma, you have to decide, will you face this with me, or let fear win?" The choice lay heavy before her as they both stared into the precipice of their futures. What ripple effect would this decision set off in their journey? The cafe's atmosphere hung thick with unspoken tension as Emma's gaze drifted to the door. Josh could almost hear her mind racing, the weight of her father's expectations bearing heavily upon her shoulders. This moment was pivotal, not just for Emma, but for him as well. He had been riding the waves of his own aspirations, but now, they intersected with her uncertainty, creating a confluence that both terrified and excited him. "Emma," he said softly, pulling her back from the brink of flight, "whatever you choose, just know this is your decision. You have power here." He hoped his words would resonate deep enough to break through the armor of fear encasing her. She took a shaky breath as if trying to reconcile her inner turmoil with the reality before her. "What if my decision affects everything?" She looked back at Josh, her eyes flooding with trepidation. "What if I let you down?" Her ancestral patterns and upbringing twisted around her confidence like weeds, enabling doubt to blossom in her heart. He felt a pang of empathy. How often had he himself allowed fear of failure to fetter his own ambitions? "Letting me down is not an option," he replied fiercely, his own courage rising to meet hers. "What matters is how you feel about this, about your choices. This could be your moment to break free." It's not just about me and the project, it's about you taking back your life. Josh had spent too long riding the currents of external validation, from teachers praising his projects to friends cheering his sports victories. But this conversation brought forth a realization his ambition thrived not in others' approval but in the authenticity of his own choices. If Emma could find the strength to claim her desires, perhaps he could too. As he watched her fidgeting with her phone, he slowly reached for his own. He tapped out a text, his fingers moving confidently. Face your fears, you'll discover how strong you truly are. He glanced up to find her watching him, uncertainty enveloping her like a thick fog, but there was a flicker of something, a glimmer of hope. Taking a deep breath, Emma finally spoke. I want to try, Josh. Not just with the project, but for me. Can we show my dad what I can do without him? The sincerity of her voice wrapped around him, reinforcing their tentative bond. Absolutely, he replied with conviction. Let us use this as a stepping stone, not just for the project but for both of us. We're capable of more than we think. A subtle shift occurred, the room felt lighter, infused with possibility. Josh thought of all those times he had resolved to step outside his own comfort zone, fueled by ambition to carve his name into the world. Could this be the threshold he needed? I'll call him, Emma said, determination threading through her words. Right now. She took another deep breath and dialed. The phone rang, each tone bouncing through the air like a drumbeat nudging them toward gravity-defying dreams. Through the connection, Josh observed Emma's demeanor shift as she regained control, her steely resolve emerging. He recognized it as the spark of the fierce ambition he had seen in her during their collaborations. She hung up, exuding a newfound confidence, and he couldn't help but feel its resonance within himself. We're doing this, she said, her eyes glinting with purpose. Together, he echoed, heart swelling with encouragement, but as Emma's demeanor shifted, bringing with it the promise of transformation, the real test loomed. What would her father say? How would this revelation impact their project and, ultimately, their futures? In that moment, as exhilaration coursed through them, Josh understood the dual journey they embarked upon. Not only were they facing parental expectations, but they were also grappling with their unfolding identities and ambitions. Suddenly, being there for Emma had ignited his internal compass, guiding him to confront his own path, yet the stakes were rising rapidly, the countdown had begun. With Emma poised to confront her father, and Josh secretly questioning his own readiness to emerge from the shadows. He recognized they stood at the precipice of their destinies, teetering on the edge of a revelation. Next, a challenge awaited, one that could fracture their resolve or solidify their newfound courage. Would this moment redefine their aspirations, or would fear once again creep in, threatening to dismantle everything they had worked so hard to achieve? Josh felt the anticipation swirling in the cafe like autumn leaves caught in an unseen gust. Each tick of the clock echoed louder than before, dredging up memories of moments where he had hesitated to leap, where fear had paralyzed his ambition. He took a moment to process the gravity of Emma's resolve, recognizing it as an ember sparking in him as well. Do you want to talk about what you'll say? He asked, trying to anchor her resolve with practical support. Emma sighed deeply, her confidence wavering just a notch. I know I need to make it clear that I'm choosing my own path. But what if he doesn't understand that? What if he sees this as me rebelling? Josh considered her words, catching a glimpse of his own unvoiced anxieties. Rebellion against expectations often came with a price, one paid in shattered relationships and regret. What if you reframe it? He suggested, brainstorming. Instead of rebellion, think of it as exploration. You're exploring who you want to be. As Emma processed his words, he felt a ripple of courage wash over him. This wasn't just about her father, it was about them both claiming ownership of their lives. You're not asking for permission, he added, determination igniting within him, you're stating what you deserve. Her eyes met his with a tentative spark. That's a good way to think about it. With every conversation about her father, Josh felt the oppressive weight of his own internal dialogues lift just a little. Each affirmation pushed him a step further away from the shadows into which he had confined himself. If Emma could confront the institutionalized beliefs that tethered her, why couldn't he address the self-imposed limitations that kept him from fully realizing his dreams? Let us break this down, he encouraged. What is your ideal outcome? She paused as if she never fully articulated it. I want him to recognize my potential, to see that I can succeed on my own terms, she confessed, her tone growing firmer. Not just as his daughter, but as an individual. Then that's what you focus on, he insisted, feeling his own fire stoke higher. You're more than a list of expectations. You're a collaborator, not an extension of him. This pivotal strategy instilled a renewed purpose within him, where before he felt mired in the pull of external pressures. He began to realize that just as Emma needed to confront her father, he too needed to face the uncertainties that lay ahead. He envisioned himself pitching a bold project to a potential investor, one where he presented himself not as a promising student, but as a creator worthy of recognition. Suddenly, the stakes felt higher, but the exhilaration of possibility surged through him anew. Okay, she said, determination radiating from her. I'll talk to him today, and I'll embrace who I am apart from him. Josh recognized this as a pivotal moment, not just for Emma, but also for himself. He wasn't just there to support her, he was growing alongside her, challenging his own fears. In sharing this journey, they would uncover deeper truths, including the skills and strengths they had yet to discover separately. As she prepared to leave, Josh felt a flicker of anxiety cross his mind. He could sense the underlying tension of their dual journeys, how intertwined they were, and the potential heartbreak that lay at the microcosm of their decisions. Yet, that fear mingled with excitement, the kind that drove people to chase dreams and leap beyond their limitations. Let us meet here again afterward, he suggested. Emma smiled at his words. You'll hold me accountable? Always, he replied, now fully invested in their parallel growth. As she stepped toward the door, Josh couldn't shake the feeling that this was the beginning of an expansive chapter, their lives interweaving in a way that could profoundly alter their trajectories. The real challenge was not merely what they would confront but how they would emerge on the other side. And as the cafe door swung closed behind her, Josh sat for a moment, grappling with his own resolve. The time had come to face his ambitions head-on. Not just as a distant determination, but as a tangible reality forged from these forthcoming confrontations. Who would he become when it was his turn to speak up, to take center stage? The answers hung tantalizingly close, just beyond his reach, promising profound shifts yet to unfold. Josh sat in the cafe, a haze of thoughts whirling through his mind. He gazed vacantly at the now empty chair across from him, where Emma had just sat, and wondered whether her conversation with her father would unfold as he hoped. The buoyancy of courage she'd found had infected him to some degree, yet there was still a tightness in his chest, a fear that lingered stubbornly at the edges of his psyche. That he wanted to imagine himself sailing smoothly into the realm of audacity, boldly facing his own professional ambitions, but the past prickled at him, reminding him of every instance when he had backed down. The risks of vulnerability struck a deep chord. Even as he played out scenarios in his mind, a small, nagging voice whispered that he didn't deserve the same recognition he craved for Emma. She had the spirit to keep pushing, while he sometimes felt that he had little left to give. He grabbed his notebook, the pages filled with sketches of ideas ranging from creative projects to entrepreneurial pursuits. Each stroke of ink felt suffocating. What were ideas if he couldn't bring himself to voice them? In a sudden shift from despair to determination, he decided it was time to take the reins of his own narrative. He recalled Emma's words, a reminder that he wouldn't ask for permission but would assert his worth. A strategy began to form in his mind, a potential pitch that would highlight his true desires and showcase his talent. With each possibility he explored, he noted that he wasn't simply aiming for validation, he was asserting his identity. Could he possibly find that hidden facet of himself that Emma had just unveiled? As he envisioned the project he would pitch, a rush of exhilaration coursed through him like electricity. He imagined the investors, their gazes trained on him. How would they react when they listened to his ideas? More importantly, what would he feel in that moment? The doubt that lurched in his stomach, or a sense of rightful ownership over his aspirations? Determined, he crafted an outline, each bullet point feeding off his fear and transforming it into fuel. He questioned what challenges he'd need to navigate and, in doing so, uncovered a startling realization: his doubts stemmed not from his abilities but from the limitations he had imposed upon himself. Every second looked like a mirror, reflecting what he had feared to be true about himself, a creator held back by a lack of belief. Minutes morphed into hours as he sat there, scribbling notes fervently while the world outside continued with its familiar cadence. The cafe buzzed with life around him, but he felt cocooned by a sense of purpose, building momentum like a freight train set for a distant horizon. That he paused to check his watch, the time approaching for Emma's return. Would she want to share her news with him? Would she find victory in the confrontation, or sorrow? The uncertainty echoed within him, foreboding yet familiar. As he closed his notebook, he took a deep breath, grounding himself in a moment of clarity. He needed to be ready to support her whether it was victory or setback. That he stood up, feeling lighter yet resolute. This rendezvous wasn't just about Emma's journey, it was about the intertwining paths they were forging, the growth they were catalyzing in each other. And it was time for him to emerge from the cocoon of hesitation. As the door swung open with a familiar chime, he turned, heart racing, ready for whatever news she might bring. The potential shift in their lives felt monumental, a shared awakening that promised not just personal victories but a new understanding of what it meant to navigate their individual aspirations together. The moment was arriving. What transformations awaited them both? Josh felt a surge of energy as Emma stepped through the door, her expression a mix of excitement and trepidation. Their eyes locked, and for a fleeting moment, time seemed to suspend itself. He could see the shadows of fear and hope dancing in her gaze, and his heart raced. He, too, was teetering on the edge of possibility. "Emma!" he called out, his voice breaking through the ambient chatter of the cafe. She approached, and he gestured for her to take a seat. The chair he had previously occupied now welcomed her as if it were preparing for a momentous conversation. As she settled in, he couldn't ignore the magnetic pull of her energy. Her presence reignited his sense of purpose that had briefly dimmed. "What happened?" he asked, trying to mask his impatience with a calmness he didn't quite feel. Emma took a deep breath, and Josh noted the movement of her shoulders. There was weight there, hints of a story that bore the gravity of her recent encounter. "I talked to my dad," she finally said, measuring each word with deliberate care. "And?" His own heartbeat thudded louder, a palpable reflection of the tension hanging between them. "He wasn't as bad as I expected. We talked about everything overnight, all the misunderstandings, the distance. He actually listened," she proclaimed, a mixture of disbelief and relief in her tone. Her words were like a spark in his mind, igniting the ideas he had spent hours sketching out. "That's amazing, Emma. You took a leap. It suits you." But beneath the elation lay a deeper realization for Josh. While Emma experienced a breakthrough moment, he faced his own brewing storm of uncertainty. Could he muster the courage to push beyond his self-imposed limitations before the waves of inspiration he felt began to ebb? "What about you?" Emma's eyes were earnest, filled with genuine concern. "What are you going to do about your ideas?" He hesitated, the weight of the moment bearing heavily upon him. The fear that had plagued him earlier crept back, whispering doubt into his ear. He couldn't let this moment slip by, not now. Emma was blooming into her authentic self, and he felt compelled to follow suit. "I've drafted a pitch," he finally confessed, a hint of vulnerability in his voice. "Really? That's huge, Josh. Are you ready for it?" she asked, leaning in closer, her excitement palpable. "Ready? No. Scared? Definitely. But I think it's time to challenge that fear." The words emerged with a newfound resolve. He envisioned this conversation as more than a simple exchange. It was the catalyst for a mutual awakening, drawing forth both their true selves. He took a deep breath, grounding himself in her gaze. "I realize that my limitations are self-made. Every second I spent hesitating was a mirror reflecting my own lack of belief. But I want to change that. I want to own my aspirations, just like you did. A flicker of recognition crossed Emma's face, and he sensed a shared understanding igniting between them. The connection deepened. They were not just two friends navigating their own journeys but allies on a path of shared growth. "Let us conquer this together," she suggested, her voice determined yet warm. He nodded, a sense of camaraderie urging him forward. They were embarking on this challenge together, both stepping into the uncomfortable wilderness of self-discovery. The cafe transformed into a sanctuary of transformation, a breeding ground for dreams too long held back by fear. As the conversations flourished around them, Josh felt a shift within himself. He was building a bridge towards something new. But as they exchanged encouragement, a shadow loomed over his thoughts, the looming pitch presentation ahead. What might that encounter reveal about his abilities and limits? He pushed the uncertainty aside for now. But deep down, he knew this was only the beginning of a greater trial. The real test awaited. Could he transform his newfound courage into tangible action? In that profound realization, he felt a knot of anticipation tightening in his stomach. The time had come to face the great unknown, intertwined with Emma's journey. The next steps were undiscovered territory, full of potential pitfalls, but also endless opportunities. As they finished their conversation, the door swung open again, revealing two figures that set his heart racing, a group of seasoned investors, the ones he had only previously encountered in hopeful fantasies. "Josh," Emma said, nudging him slightly. "Looks like now's your chance." The moment of truth was upon him. What would it take to seize it? Would fear hold him back, or would he find the strength to rise? As the footsteps drew closer, time slowed for Josh. Every passing second felt like an eternity, the vibrant chatter of the cafe fading into an indistinct hum. He glanced at Emma. Her faithful encouragement infused him with a resolve he had seldom felt in the past months. Yet that certainty was draped in uncertainty, a tension tinged with vulnerability. With each heartbeat, he envisioned the investment pitch he had meticulously crafted. It wasn't just a presentation, it was a reflection of him, of his dreams and aspirations, an embodiment of the self-doubt he needed to confront. The investors took their seats near the window, their confident demeanor suggesting they had heard countless pitches before. With a jolt, he realized how easily he could become just another forgotten voice amidst the noise. "Remember, confidence is key," Emma whispered softly, nudging him once more. Those words echoed in his mind as he stood, pushing his chair back, the scrape of wood against the floor breaking his reverie. He had rehearsed this moment in front of the mirror, from his opening line to the closing appeal, yet now, in the immediate throes of reality, the words felt slippery, elusive. He took a deep breath, forcing his legs to carry him across the room. Each step was a confrontation, a direct challenge to the fears he had harbored for too long. As he approached the investors, he noticed their expressions ranging from mildly intrigued to unnervingly detached. Suddenly, he was acutely aware of his own vulnerability, an unlayered essence laid bare in front of them. What if they could see through his facade? What if they could sense the tremor of inexperience that trembled beneath the surface? "Good morning," he started, attempting to project authority. "My name is Josh Reynolds, and I'm here to present an innovative solution designed to alter the landscape of our industry." He fought to keep his voice steady, summoning every ounce of composure he could. As he launched into the pitch, words spilled out cautiously, first like hesitant raindrops, then following into a surging downpour of ideas. He spoke passionately about his concept, weaving a complex narrative of how it would benefit not just their interests but the community as a whole. Each statistic, each projection was a building block he hoped would fortify the weak foundation of his self-belief. However, as confident as his voice tried to sound, doubt crept in uninvited. What if they didn't see the potential? What if his design was just another fleeting thought? The fear pulsed, heavy like a weight pressing down on his chest. But as he progressed, he felt a flicker of that energy Emma had brought to the cafe. That wisdom rekindled a path through the fog of uncertainty. He glanced at the investors, gauging their reactions. One raised an eyebrow, another jotted notes with an intensity that spurred him forward. It was a small reassurance, yet it urged him to lean into the moment instead of shrinking back. Then came the pivotal question that cut through his presentation like a knife. what makes you think you can execute this plan, Josh? What experience do you have? Suddenly, there it was, the confrontation he had dreaded. It loomed before him like an insurmountable wall. He paused, heart racing, grappling with the answer. The truth flowed unbidden from a newly discovered reservoir of conviction. I may not have led projects at this scale before, but my experiences building partnerships and my understanding of this industry allow me to pivot swiftly and adapt as needed. More importantly, I'm committed to learning and growing through every challenge. The investors exchanged glances. For a heartbeat, he could see a shift in their interest. They were searching for grit, authenticity, a spark that suggested he might just surprise them in ways no spreadsheet could convey. In that moment, Josh recognized something profound about himself. Within the fear of inadequacy lay a fierce hunger for growth, an insatiable desire to prove not just to them but to himself that he was capable. As he wrapped up, he felt the weight of possibility lift slightly. He had introduced an idea, but more importantly, he had introduced himself, raw but vigilant, earnest yet ambitious. When he returned to Emma, he could barely mask the exhilaration bubbling beneath the surface. "How did I do?" "You were incredible." She beamed, and for the first time, he sensed a difference in her gaze, pride mingled with respect, but even as they spoke, something else brewed in the back of his mind. What if they had seen enough to give him a chance, yet the challenge of execution loomed larger than ever? As the reality of the aftermath settled in, he felt the creeping tendrils of doubt return, whispering that perhaps the hardest obstacles were still ahead. He knew he had to stay engaged, each step forward would demand more resilience than the last. But with the investors' faces still etched in his memory, he couldn't shake the feeling that he had opened a door to a larger opportunity. What awaited him on the other side? A battle with his own self-doubt or the fire of success? It was time to find out. Josh stood on the edge of a new beginning. The months of growth had empowered him to take ownership of his life once more, and now, with the pitch behind him, he sensed the potential of a professional transformation that had once seemed unattainable. That morning's venture had not just been about impressing investors, it forged a tangible bridge from fear to fulfillment. The journey back home felt different. The city streets, once a blur of routine, now shimmered with possibilities. He didn't merely see Lily waiting for him in their modest home, he envisioned a future one crafted from determination and newfound ambition. It was clear now he was teaching his daughter the power of hard work and resilience. In the days that followed, Josh channeled his exhilaration into study, attending every class with zeal. He immersed himself in business principles, facing concepts that had once overwhelmed him. His classmates took notice as he engaged passionately with the material and contributed to team projects with greater confidence. He demonstrated a keen aptitude for leadership that only deepened over weeks of collaboration. Meanwhile, Emma's evolution paralleled his own. After their cafe meeting, she seized the opportunity to approach new ventures. With the support of their instructor, she officially outlined a project focusing on sustainable business practices that would honor her own passions while serving her father's expectations differently. This integration, that balance between ambition and obligation, was an intricate dance they both learned together. One evening, as Josh reviewed presentations in preparation for another class, he received a call that jolted him. The investors had decided to back his project. They recognized the innovative spark he had pitched, along with a commitment that reflected his journey. Their faith filled him with validation he had long sought yet hesitated to claim. When he broke the news to Lily, her small face lit up with pride. "You did it, Daddy. You're going to be a businessman." Each joyful giggle solidified that this wasn't just his success, they shared it as a family, a transformation that empowered them all. The following week, Josh participated in a networking event filled with entrepreneurs. Here, amidst seasoned professionals, he felt no dread or disparity, he belonged. Each handshake and conversation were a testament to his growth, and the realization settled warmly within him: he was no longer a mere backdrop in life. As his confidence solidified, Emma's own commitment to pursuing her autonomy deepened. Together, they crafted a workshop about risk management for young entrepreneurs. It was emblematic of the newfound respect they held for each other's journeys, always fortifying and challenging each other. Months later, at the very same cafe where their stories intertwined, they stood before a small group of attendees who had come for guidance. Josh called out, "Success isn't just the end goal, it's about the courage to step beyond your confines, to redefine what is possible." He glanced at Emma, taking pride in the way she flourished alongside him. Two dreamers turned doers. As they wrapped up, attendees lined up for feedback and further questions. Recognition surged through him. A professional identity distinctly theirs came into being. Looking back on the man he once was, Josh felt gratitude wash over him. Fear had not vanished, it transformed into respect for the challenges he had faced and the aspirations yet to come. His ambition thrived, not as a monolith crushing hope but as a force propelling him toward limitless potential. None of this would have been possible without the willingness to seize opportunities for self-discovery and the importance of community in their shared endeavors. In the weeks that followed, a prestigious business magazine reached out to him. They wanted to feature his story, how ambition, once stifled by circumstance, could be reclaimed. As he stood in front of the camera, he realized this moment was a profound testament not just to personal transformation, but to a legacy of aspiration he could now share with Lily and Emma, a legacy that underscored the strength found within vulnerability. With Lily playing in the background and Emma beside him, Josh reflected on their paths that had intertwined at such a pivotal moment. They turned adversities into growth opportunities, strengthening. Understood that life's challenges make us whole. As he smiled for the camera, it was clear that their journey had just begun. Now, seize this moment for personal transformation too. Subscribe immediately to the channel to witness more exclusive emotional stories that inspire profound change. Leave a like now to help feed the algorithm and share these powerful narratives to those who need encouragement. Comment your reactions and theories about how Josh and Emma's journey reflects your own aspirations. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Don't wait even one more second to spread the message of transformation.